I really appreciate it. What a beautiful place on a beautiful day in a beautiful state. Kent County is one of the gems of Maryland, so I'm delighted to be here. And when you look and you see the natural resources that are everywhere here, you recognize what we all need to invest in. We need to invest in these natural beauties. We're in a real struggle, a national struggle, and it's certainly playing out here in the state, between Republicans who honestly, I think, want to satisfy that urge for immediate gratification. They want more money, and they want it sooner. They want short-term profits. They want low taxes because they want to keep that money to spend it now. Honestly, if we follow that track, we will do what no generation has ever done in America. We will leave our children worse off than we are. And to me, that's completely unacceptable. And I believe the Democratic Party, in its greatest moments, represents just the opposite. A willingness to invest in the future. Invest wisely, not foolishly, but invest in the future, whether it's in our children or in the environment. I really believe that the Democratic Party stands for the future and investment, wise investment in the future. And I would like to carry on that tradition. In this election in 2018, the Democrats have to do two things, in my judgment. They need to nominate somebody who can get things done, and they need to beat Larry Hogan.
Yes.
That's what needs to be done.
Yes.
I'm a lifelong Marylander. I was born in Baltimore City, and I grew up in Baltimore County, and I've worked out of the city my whole life, but all through Maryland. I have been a part of the business world. I have a business background. I have for 22 years been the leader of Venable, which is the largest law firm in Maryland. I have had a vision for the firm, I've created plans for the firm, and I've executed on those plans. And I think that's very much part of what you want a governor to do. You want plans and you want execution. I've been on the Greater Baltimore Committee for over 20 years. I have also started businesses. I, for 10 years, was chair of the Empowerment Zones in Baltimore City, which is an economic development program in the late 90s and early 2000s. I was on the board of the university system for 10 years and chair for 4. The university system is made up of 12 public universities and colleges in Maryland. It covers 160,000 students and almost 40,000 faculty and staff. Its budget of $5.4 billion is larger than any budget of any political subdivision in the state. Any county, any city, university system is larger. So those two worlds, the business world and the education world, I would expect as a candidate and then certainly as governor to challenge those two worlds. The most important issue I think that we have is education. And we need to make sure our education system is aligned with businesses in the sense that there are actual jobs at the end of that pipeline. We've got to make sure that our schools, whether it's high school, colleges, community colleges, are producing students who have the skills that the jobs require. We have lots of jobs that are going unfulfilled because the graduates don't have the skills that are needed. So those two communities need to get together. The businesses need to tell the colleges and the high schools what skills are needed, and they have to produce jobs that those skills are suited for. We are slipping, I'm telling you, we are slipping from a position of some preeminence in the United States to mediocrity. The Kirwan Commission, which is currently uncovering and looking into all of this, will tell you that Maryland stands in the second and third quartile in all the student performance testing that's being done. Second or third quartile. Now, there may be some who say, middle of the pack of the United States, that's not so bad. Well, I'm here to tell you it's terrible because U.S. education itself, K through 12, is in very, very bad shape. I have a plan that will be published in the coming weeks about education, and it will emphasize what I call academic education, but also vocational education, as I indicated earlier. Both are extremely important. And I want Maryland to have not just an okay, not just a good, not just a middle of the pack education. I want us to have a world-class educational system, because that's what we need, that's what we can have, and that's what we deserve. There are a couple things about the environment. I've already indicated investment is called for and needed, and so is protection. Donald Trump has zeroed out funding for the Bay restoration, and we have to fight that. Donald Trump has deregulated in a variety of ways, including dumping into streams that then feed into the bay, and we can't allow that. We have programs to protect the oyster beds, and not just Donald Trump, but Larry Hogan want to harvest all those oysters immediately. We can't have that. We need a solid Department of Environment that is enforcing the environmental regulations, which Larry Hogan is not doing. The enforcements are at an all-time low. I believe those regulations are important. Regulations protect people. We shouldn't call them regulations, we should call them protections.
Yeah.
Because they protect us, people, consumers. But you know what? They also protect businesses that are doing it the right way.
Yeah.
It's the corner cutters that the regulations are designed to affect, and we ought to apply those regulations. And where they've been eliminated by the federal government, we ought to substitute regulations at the state level. In the transportation plan, I would emphasize mass transit as opposed to automobile transit, and the notion of having wider highways I find to be anathema. When you widen highways, every study will show you that within a year you have the same congestion, just with more cars. And not to mention the fact that all the access roads to these now widened highways will be jammed immediately. Your energy cost is enormous, and the damage to the environment is irreparable. So I would focus on public transportation on the Eastern Shore. Now, it would be in the form, I believe, of buses, certainly initially. And I think we have to think clearly and plan well as to where the buses run and how they do it. But right now, I'm not familiar with any effective public transportation system on the Eastern Shore. There are two issues in the Democratic primary that I think are most important. The first question for the Democratic voters will be, who can get things done? And I would posit my experience as an executive. I have delivered plans and executed those plans and gotten things done for the last 40 years. I'm not a politician. I've never run for elected office, but I think I have the executive skills and experience that the job of governor demands. And the second issue is, who's most likely to beat Larry Hogan? And there, I think I have a special position within the Democratic primary field. I can fight Larry Hogan on his own turf. He says he's got a business background. I have a business background. I'm ready to match my business background with his any day. So I will attack him where he thinks he's invulnerable. Right there on the business background issues, and win back for the Democratic Party a lot of those voters who drifted over to the Democratic side. In short, I'll fight him on his own turf, and I'll have the Democratic 2-to-1 advantage behind me in addition to that.